So, Scott, thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Dan. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, how long have you been president of National Health Federation now?
5.5 years now as of this August 2012.
Only 5.5 years. Well, it's
Yeah.
amazing because you've accomplished so much.
Well, thank you.
Now, one thing that I'm really interested in hearing about NHF is about Codex Alimentarius. That may be a term that's not familiar to a lot of people, but can you explain to us what Codex Alimentarius is?
Sure. If I can, in as few words as possible on this. The Codex Alimentarius is basically an international body, an international organization that was created in the early 1960s by the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Health Organization with the ostensible goal, two goals actually, to promote consumer health and to eliminate international barriers to food trade. And that has always been its goal, stated goal, and it's even stated in its bylaws and its statement of principles. What has happened over the years, though, is that it has many members, by the way. Many members, countries are members. Everyone from Albania to Zimbabwe basically is a member. 99% of the world's population is represented at the Codex meetings, or at least their governments are represented. Let me put it that way. I wouldn't dare say that the people are represented there, but the governments
their bureaucrats are there.
Yes, exactly. Well, the government will send the FDA equivalents to attend these meetings, and when they do, they speak from an FDA-type bureaucratic mindset, and those are the kind of people that are there representing the countries. Now, in addition to the countries, you have what are known as INGOs, International Non-Governmental Organizations. And these INGOs are also there. Now, they cannot vote, but then usually the meetings you don't vote in them anyway. Occasionally you do, but very rarely. Instead, they are able to speak out just as much as the countries do, and some of them actually do that. Now, the National Health Federation, we were accredited back in 2002 by Codex over 10 years ago to be able to participate in these meetings, and that's what we've been doing since then. Any of the Codex meetings that are held, either at the committee level, the working group level, or the commission level, and it's a three-tiered process, with the working groups being the lowest level, then the committees, which are hosted by a particular country, and then the commission itself, which has the final say on all the standards and guidelines adopted. And that's the purpose of Codex. Again, I'll say ostensibly, is to adopt standards and guidelines that are then used worldwide in food trade. So if they adopt a standard on, say, natural mineral waters or shrimp farming or spices and herbs, then that becomes a standard that's especially adopted by the developing countries who love these standards.
That sounds like a laudable purpose. What kind of issues are there in terms of consumer protection?
Well, the problem is, like most agencies, whether it's the FDA in the United States or the FDA equivalent in some other state, is they get captured by corporate interests or special interest groups. Not us, but the drug companies, excuse me, the drug companies spend $6 million a day in the U.S. lobbying the FDA, lobbying Congress and the like. We don't have that kind of money at NHF.
$6 million a day.
No, not even $6 million a year, not even $6 million in 10 years. But the fact of the matter is that you have all this interest here, and in fact a lot of the INGOs, almost all of them, are trade organizations, some of them controlled by groups like Monsanto, the aspartame people, GD Searle, and other special corporate interests that have their own agenda to push. I would say only a handful, literally a handful, are consumer organizations, and that would include the National Health Federation. And we're the only ones that are interested in total health freedom who are there. Now, sometimes some of the other consumer organizations, or even, believe it or not, some of the trade organizations or some of the countries, will be somewhat fellow travelers with us on the issue of health freedom, but we're the only ones who are consistently pro-health freedom.